government is fucking happy. Another family suffers, her falls and deaf ears, no one wanted to save them. Fire caused at last to end fire, but neighbors. Neighbors from hell, neighbors who cause pain, neighbors who can't play nice. Another family has to suffer. Why are you helping the bullies? Why didn't you save the victims? Children losing their toys, parents keeping watch at night. Cops coming to late, government acting dumb. The family asks for help, families get nothing. Regardless of the bullies' eggs, do something! Screw the legal system, a family is suffering. Why didn't you save them? You just watched them burn. No one cared about the victims, no one with power ever does. All those cries, all the begging, all the pleading fell on deaf ears. Why are the bullies being saved? Why are the bullies being treated as victims? A family is gone, a house is gone, voices of the innocents never heard again. This is no joke, this is reality, the pain and suffering. While politicians ignore while cops watch and stand. As I said it right, I felt like I was rushing it. But did I get my point across? Sort of? Maybe? I don't know. Do you want me to explain my point? Because I can do that. And I will. Sorry. Okay, so this was actually recently inspired by something that's happened to me. I should say happened, because it's over and it's dealt with. Finally. After like 4 months of complaining, you idiots. Took you long enough. Okay, now I live in a government house, like housing commission. We all know what that is. I mean, it's not the greatest thing to say, but I've got a house at the end of the day, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you, government, for giving me a house. I let my family live in the house too. I mean, technically it's my mom's house, but my name's on the lease, so whatever. Okay, well, about November last year, this particular family moved into the neighborhood. Big deal, people move house every day. But this particular family we had trouble with since day one. Their kids would climb onto my fence and just walk along it, you know. We told them just to hop off, you know, for their safety mostly. And they were like, yeah, whatever. And then, because my bedroom window is near the fence line, they started throwing things like dirty nappies and branches into our yard. And we were like, could you please not? You know, it's kind of gross. And so we put the rubbish back in their yard because we were told we were allowed to. Wait for the confusion. And as the weeks got on, it started getting worse. And then about 2 months ago, things turned to hell. These neighbours started throwing things at my window, throwing things at my mom's car, damaging my siblings' toys that were outside, getting stuff off our washing line and throwing it all over the yard, cutting some of our washing that was on the line, burning my sister's brand new bike that she only got for her birthday a few weeks prior. What else? They come into our yard throwing things, attempting to come into threaten to kill us, and actually came into our yard once with one of those big metal poles that you normally see with street signs. Yeah, and it was really scary and frightening and whatever. And no matter how many times we called the police, they usually came when it's too late, when the whatever happened was over. Countless times the police would come the day after, when the calm was on, when it was completely calm and quiet. I don't know why. And it was very unfortunate. The cops were like, you know, we didn't see it happen, so there isn't actually much we can do. And we also found out that, or during the thing, it was actually the children of the neighbours that was starting it, and the mother was encouraging them. We found out that the oldest child was about 12 years old, and due to our legal system in Australia, the government can't actually do anything until the child turns 16 or 18, depending on which cop you ask. because rules change. Each time we were in fear of our lives, fear for our safety, fear for on our own property, we barely said a word to these neighbours. We didn't even say hello to them because we're nice like that, and we just stay away. If you move into our neighbourhood, we'll leave you alone if you leave us alone. Fair enough. And stuff like that. But we didn't say hello to them, we didn't greet them to the neighbourhood, we didn't care who they were. If they left us alone, we would be fine. But they clearly didn't, and each time we rang Housing Commission as well to let them know what was going on. The only thing Housing said to us was, do you have footage? Do you have proof? How do you know it's them doing it? It's like, well, excuse me, Housing Commission, I've got 400 videos, countless photos to prove that my family is under attack by people we don't know. And so we sent in all our footage that we had from the things that happened to our property, and Housing Commission's like, we'll look into it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So about 2 weeks ago, the family finally moved into a different neighbourhood, which is thankful for my street, because I found out that maybe 10 other neighbours were getting terrorised by this particular family. This particular family also sent an elderly neighbour into the hospital because they were attacking her. She was in fear for her life as well. She was old. She's probably like 60, 70 years old, something like that. She was fearful, and you can see my damn cat. Yeah, that's what I thought, miss. And so she was fearful for her life. And then they started attacking people that were 10 houses up in the street. Like, what the hell? So they were clearly troubled neighbours, but for whatever reason, they didn't understand that enough is enough. And the only thing that the cops could do about the situation was talk to that family and just be like, could you just leave them alone? That would be nice. So, unfortunately, talking got them nowhere, and my house was attempted to be lit on fire 3 times. I have burnt grass stains, burnt grass patches in my yard from them. They even burnt my sister's brand new bike after they claimed they didn't steal it. So, you know, it's one of those things that are quite frustrating, and I really hope the government sorts out their system. It used to be 3 strikes you're out, so every time you got a complaint, every time neighbours complained about you, you'd get a warning, and then come to your 3rd complaint, you'd get kicked out. But clearly that's not anymore, because we've been told that they have to go to court, and if the court lets them live in a house, then they can stay in the goddamn house and cause more terror to everybody else. How about screw you government and fix your bloody legal system? I don't want to suffer. My 7-year-old sister feared for her life. She thought she was going to die. She went to bed screaming every night. She woke up crying every night. My brother and sister, who are 6 and 4, were in fear. They didn't understand what was going on, and they were scared. So when you've got young children involved, that's when you bloody need to do something. Doesn't matter if there's adults involved, because we can deal for ourselves and whatever. But young children, when we constantly told you that there was young children being scared, and they are traumatized, and they are slowly, takes days for them to slowly recover. It's been 2 weeks since those neighbours have left. My siblings are still scared. So you need to bloody fix your system before somebody loses a life thanks to your incompetence. And if I lose my house because of this, then I proved a point. Because I'm not the troublemaker, those neighbours were, and you didn't listen when we told you something would happen. And don't make me lose my house, because they need a house to live in. So that was my point. That was inspired by something that happened to me, and I just needed to vent. And I hoped you liked the song that came with it, and I hope you could heard it. And yes, this is to prove a point, not to insult. So probably it was both. I'm very good at that, I've been told. Holy crap, it's 10 minutes on. Okay, I'm gonna go now. Bye!